Welcome, 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 welcome. It is now officially Vlogmas. It is now officially Vlogmas. Happy holidays and happy Vlogmas. Go ahead and take a look at the intro and then we'll go ahead and get it cutting up with QdAbArBeR. Be right back. Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. You are here. This is the Cutting Up with QdAbArBeR, volume number 2. We made it. We finally made it through volume 1. We got it posted. We got it public. And I just want to start off by saying, yo, the love that I got, I could care less how many views I got, but the love that I got on that first Cutting Up with QdAbArBeR, I was like, yo, I got more comments when this stream replay than people get on a live stream current event. I was like, wow, that shit is crazy. Pardon my language, but I was super hyped, yo. But nevertheless, I hope you guys are doing very, very, very well out there tonight. I'm gonna try not to be like my man. I'm gonna try not to be like my man out there in Kensington. What's his name? Mr. Neil, Mr. Fuego, Mr. What's his name? Logo Fuego, Ego Malego, whatever it is. He be on the joint like Yeah, he kind of in his bag right now, so I'm gonna leave him alone. He act like he ain't in his feelings right now, but like I said, I bring realities, some truth, and truth hurts sometimes. And I'm the person that usually just sits back and observes and collects and collects and collects and collects. And then, obviously, if you collect for too long, you ain't got nowhere else to put your collection at. So, what do? You explode. And that's pretty much what happened, for lack of better words. But like I said, later on down the line, as we get through these Cutting Over QdAbArBeRs, we'll get on those topics couple weeks, couple months, whatever down the road. And that'll be another volume for us to talk about and spend the whole replay or stream talking about those particular issues. But tonight, today, whenever you're listening to this, whether it be night, morning, afternoon, it doesn't even matter to me. The fact that you stopped by tonight, today, this morning, tomorrow morning, whatever, and actually listen to me, that's what matters the most. I just need one ear to listen to one stream in order to be able to change one life. But like I said, I'm your boy, QdAbArBeR. Um, we are currently on volume 2 of my segment that I started called Cutting Up with QdAbArBeR. Volume 1, we talked about Q or QdAbArBeR or who Quincy is. And like I said, I got a lot of love and I just appreciate all of the support and all of the motivation that I got from that. I'm sure that there's still a lot of people that haven't listened yet. But like I said, the views went up and I had tremendous amounts of comments. And of course, like I said, with all of the comments, the more and more and more and more and more interaction you have, and the more, mind you, just FYI, that wasn't a stutter. That was me repeating the words. Sorry, that's the last time I'm gonna say that. I just had to get it out there. But anyways, like I said, the more that you actually interact on your streams and your replays and your clicks and your views and your videos and your shorts, is the further and the more, I guess, the further that they push you into the depth chart on the algorithm. You want to be deep into the algorithm, so therefore you get played more. It's really weird how it works. I watched the whole little webinar on it, so I think it's really cool. A person like me, it took a minute to understand, but once I figured it out, I think the OCD in me kicked in, and I kind of understood what the mission was. So that's my goal now, is to just make sure that I'm not really looking for 50 million or 60, 70, 80, 90 million people to subscribe to the page. That would be absolutely lovely. That would be the best blessing that I've ever had in my life. But um, with me, just as with cutting hair, just as with being an advocate, being an awareness model, um, being an outreach individual, I'm very, very, very meticulous when it comes to my very, very, very famous saying that you guys see me say on my video clips, or that you see me write on my video clips, as well as you'll hear me say it in my segments to come, whether they be replays or whether they be actual live chats, or even when I'm in, other people's chats over the YouTube platform. I say it all the time. It's a portion of my motto. I'd rather be a person that has 1 or 100 quality followers, people that are actually rocking with me, interacting with me on a daily basis, than to look like an individual that maybe might have possibly purchased 15,000 subscribers and really only have like 500 interactions with, certain people. You get what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm at as far as that goes. It's a big deal of uh, quality for me over quantity. I could care less at this point about, and that's not said in a negative light, but for a lack of better words, I can kind of care less about, the amount of followers. I just want a quality base of followers now. And I definitely think, like I said, I totally understood the mission, and that's my goal. I'm out here every single day in the trenches, with the youth supporters that I have now, that are out here on a daily basis, striving to help put me on the map. And like I said, any and everything that you guys can do to help, it'd be greatly appreciated. It's free to click the subscribe button. It's free to click the like button. It's free to leave a comment. You know, if you're not a person that likes to donate to the Cash App for the upgraded equipment and stuff that I definitely desirably need for my content to be improved, which I've talked to several of my subscribers about as well, and just explain, you know, what I'm trying to do. I definitely need to be thinking about quality, especially with them seeing the type of work that I put in. Um, but like I said, that's for a different story. I just kind of wanted to put that out there and at least get it into y'all's brains and get it moving. Um, Over here on the platform, we're looking for a certain type of follower, a certain type of subscriber. We're looking for that individual that's actually gonna be part of a loyal movement, a loyal team, a loyal outreach, a dedicated outreach. Um, a model person, a person that you know that can come to your channel and they're gonna deliver positivity on 150% basis. Somebody that you don't have to worry about. Um, did they see your video today? Because they already beat you to it. And that's the type of person that I try to be. So I would only expect to be treated with the same respect from my subscribers as well. I get it. We all have lives, but that would be the reality of the situation. And I have some really, really, really good and dedicated ones that are currently on top of it, and I totally appreciate them. And I have some other ones that I just haven't had an opportunity to reach out to yet, which that'll be my goal, and that'll be my motivation to get more dedicated and quality subscribers. I would love to have a relationship with each and every single one of the people that click the subscribe button. That would be the end goal. I would love to know 1,000 people, 1,000,000 people, 150 billion people, if that's ever possible in my lifetime, and to be honest and be able to say, hey, I know who these people are. That would be amazing. So, this is why we wake up every single day to continue to move forward because we have goals. And until we reach our goals, we never stop the grind. So, back on track, no more digressing. Like I said, last segment, last volume was volume one. It was about who Q is, who Quincy is, who QdAbArBeR is. Now we are currently on volume two. And volume two's title today is What is My D.O.C? What is my D.O.C? Before we get into this topic, I want to go ahead and take the time to say stop, pause, as some people would say. Warning, this is for educational purposes only. I am sharing facts only. I am sharing personal situations and story time only. No assumptions are being given whatsoever, which is one of the main reasons why I opt to do the very beginnings as playbacks instead of streams. I have a lot of facts to give you guys. I have a lot of people that are wanting to be educated. I see in a lot of chats people have allegations. I see in a lot of chats people make assumptions. I see in a lot of chats people put their own spin on top of half facts and half assumption and half opinion. No, you can't do that because then that's how people get confused. So, my end goal today is to give you volume two of Cutting Up with QdAbArBeR, which is What Is My D.O.C. But as I stated, warning, this is your trigger warning for those of you guys that are current addicts, recovering addicts, addicts in a stable recovery that still have trigger issues. Those of you guys that may be curious, this is your warning. Understand that this is for educational purposes only, but this is also a warning trigger. It will get graphic. I may use certain words. I may use derogatory terms. I may say a cuss word or two. I may talk about an illicit drug, um, or two, or three, or four. But understand that it's only for educational purposes only, and I wanted to put that out there just for those of you guys that aren't aware of how I speak. You're getting the opportunity to click off of the video now, because those of you that do know how I do speak, I'm very cut and dry. I'm very to the point. I'm very factual. I'm that person that's going to give it very, very raw and very, very uncut. So, DOC. DOC. What is my DOC? What is my DOC? Let's start with the definition of DOC. The definition of DOC is drug of choice. That is a long and standard word and phrase for DOC. Drug of choice is defined as and refers to as the substance or substance in which the abuser and or addicts preferred over other drugs. What it means, a particular drug that you prefer over any other drug. If you have multiple drugs that you prefer over any other drugs, then you have multiple DOCs. Getting back to me on my personal level, because we're cutting up with Q, my DOCs, I'm a 3-person DOC. It's on a one-way train. And unfortunately, my one-way train was headed towards hell in the very beginning. And if I did not catch myself, if I did not hit rock bottom, there's no way of knowing where I would be if I was not in the grave right about now. So I just have to be blatantly honest. My DOC started off as very, very general, very, very broad. I was an opiate person, aka also known as Oxycontin or oxycodone. Those are medically prescribed pills. I started Took my very first 5 milligram Oxycontin with no Tylenol to stretch, no time release. It was just straight 5 milligrams Oxycontin. There was a little white round pill that had the imprint 512 on it. I was to take those every 4 to 6 hours. I started off taking those when I was 19 years old. As y'all remember, back in volume 1, I told you guys a little bit about me and my college days. I wrestled college at University of Central Florida, as well as I bowled anchor for the team there as well in their D1. Senior year wrestling, it was right before NCAA semifinals. Sorry, right before NCAA semifinals. I'll never forget. I was wrestling a guy from USF, which is University of South Florida, which is based out of Tampa, and I had scored points. I scored 4 on a near fall. He had a reversal, which these are things that we'll all talk about at later dates. But just to sum it up, I had scored back points. He had reversed a move. I was already up 6 points. We went into the third period. The referee blew the whistle. I got up because I tried to go get the adequate amount of time for rest. Like I said, being up 6 points, my goal now is to stall and play defense and make him tire himself out for the next 38 seconds in order to advance to the finals so therefore I could go to the championship for the tournament at NCAA. Um, I'll never forget, referee blew the whistle. I turned around. I think my foot got caught on the mat. We have these really grippy shoes. And I think at the time, um, UCF, we were sponsored by ASIC, which is a wrestling company and a running company as well. But they make wrestling attire and shoes. So I know I had on a pair of ASICs or whatnot. Um, they were very great shoes. I'm pretty sure I probably still got them somewhere. I just have to dig for them. But I don't know if the guy was being an asshole. I know that he had beat me one time in the season previously, which was my junior year. But I'd wrestled him 3 times senior year, and he hadn't beat me any of those. I never had pinned him at all senior year, but I did beat him by points, and I beat him fairly bad every time. I think he got really frustrated, so when the referee blew the whistle, he went to get up, and like, I don't know if you guys know, when a person goes to get up and they get up in an awkward position, if they get up really forceful, he like went to go jab his elbow and it went into my lower back. And I heard the worst sounding crack that I had ever heard in my whole entire life. And it felt like the best way that I can explain it is, if you've ever heard the interpretation of the Great Wall of China falling, that's kind of how I felt like my back was feeling at that point in time. It was ridiculous. Like it was almost being stung by 100 bees repeatedly. Like it was burning sensation over a numb type of pain, and it was throbbing. It was like somebody was just taking a surgical needle or like a tattoo gun that had no ink in it, and it was just drawing back and forth, back and forth, right over top of that ligament that sits right above the last vertebrae on your tailbone. So, um, long story short, I ended up forfeiting the match. My record, my record ended up that season only. My record ended up being 41-3. I had lost two matches in the beginning of the season, and I lost that one match, which made my third lose after going on the streak for as long as I did. Um, and he was so ecstatic about his win, and I think he failed to realize that the little petty, um, what he probably thinks is an innocent um, nudge or a cheap shot, as we call it, back then would drastically change my life for the rest of my life. I had issues with my back, and I still have issues with my back to this day. And it's been years. I ended up having a MRI done. Very next day, went to the doctor, went to Orlando East Regional, MRI done, and I was absolutely correct. When I tried to get up out of bed that next morning, like you could feel it. It was heat in my back. It felt like it felt like it was loose gravel just going around in my back. And I was like, oh my God, like it was terrible. I could barely walk. It was really bad. So, like I said, I had never had an injury like that before. And this is a person, member, talking about who I was in the last um, in the last volume. This is a person I had marched percussion, marched drums, had heavy things on my back. My back was super strong. Um, I use my back for everything. With bowling, you have to be able to be up in a stand up position. You have to be able to twist at your waist and be able to use your back for support. I mean, you needed it for everything. And when I got the MRI done and the doctor came in, I never forget, I dropped those two tears when he told me that my bottom vertebrae was crushed. And he said it was not crushed as in broken, but it's almost like it was in a deteriorating state. So it was still together, it was still intact, but it was so fragile. And he told me, which, like I said, I'll never forget. I still reminisce it every single day when I get up, still to this day. He told me every single day that I live without having a back surgery, without pulling out that cartilage that's close to my bottom vertebrae, connected to my tailbone. I think it's the L5 or the L7. One of y'all help me out in the comments once y'all listen back to the replay. I have no clue which one it is for the life of me. I do know that my mom has all my paperwork. She is very good at keeping all of that because she had major issues with her feet. So I figured she could keep up with all of my stuff as well. Uh, but yeah, my options were at 19 at the time to have a major back surgery, and there was a 75% chance that I would have to use some type of cane and or walker if the surgery was not successful, and or enter into a program called pain management and be put on a dose of medication that I would be able to bear with the pain until I finish the active years, is what the doctor referred to it as. The active years in my life, then I could have the surgery once I felt like I had passed my active time to where I was doing things that were aggressive and or so consistent that I had to be moving and didn't have time for recovery. Well, not like a dummy, but like I thought was a smart move, so therefore I could keep going and keep doing me and focus on getting into rehab as far as like for sport and continue on, and bowling season was getting ready to come up. I did what I thought was the right thing. Boom, right into pain management. Boom, that's when I had that first pill. Boom, took me three, took me pills, three pills, three 5 milligram oxycontin took me 3 times, 3 doses to find out this was going to be the love of my life for what I thought was going to be the rest of my life. We'll get back into that. Let me continue forward. So now you know what drug of choice means. Let's talk about what happens when you go from opiate. I'm taking this drug for the rest of the duration of college. It started to what we would consider as plateau. I would be fine. I would be in class. I would feel as comparable as to what some of my friends at the time would say smoking, quote unquote, loud pack or gas or whatever super strong weed is. I've never smoked bud day in my life or marijuana, if as some of you guys call it. I've just never been that guy. A lot of people hail me for that. They say, well, you know, it would probably help you tremendously, but I was always an active individual, so I never really had an opportunity to really sit down and try it. So I was just like, yeah, no. Plus, clearly, I was always on the go, 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 go. So I fell in love with the slow, 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 slow motion of the pills, the oxycontins, the AKA perks, Percocets. That was the love of my life. When I got up, boom, popped a pill. After I got in the shower, boom, popped a pill on the way to class. I mean, I was literally floating on clouds all day long. I would be in bowling tournaments. I wouldn't be able to even feel my back, just cruising. It's amazing how small as a pill like that can control something so big as I was and be such a powerful force in your life. It's totally amazing. And still to this day, I look back and I go, wow, that is completely crazy. So we get through. I ended up moving up, like I told you guys. I relocated from Florida to where I am now, which is in Central Virginia. In the process of moving, insurance lapse. Boom. The insurance that I had down there, I did switch jobs. I was with the same company. We went to a different location. The location being with the school systems down there, because those of you guys that know from the last volume, I came up to Central Virginia originally before picking up barbering as my primary job. I came up here to teach music, which is what I went to school for. Once again, if you didn't check out volume 1, go back. learn who I am. You'll know the story. Anyways, I came up here to do that, and I went to go refill, and they said, "Well, this is how much your pill's gonna cost." And I was like, "What?" I think that my prescription of 120 pills was like, it went from being $7.53 to like $578 and like 19 cents. I was like, holy crap. I was trying my hardest, trying to figure it out, trying to whatever, this, that, and the third. Moral of the story is they switched from whatever they were on down in Florida at the time. I couldn't remember. Here, we switched to the insurance that was Blue Cross Blue Shield. I think it's called Anthem, if I'm not mistaken. Those of you guys that know, please let me know in the comments. I do believe the name of the insurance company is called Anthem, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so that's what teachers use up here in Central Virginia. But there was one problem. I had gotten so used to taking my pills on a regular routine schedule. I never knew what it was like to not take my pills. I had no clue what anything was going to be like. And I was in for a rude awakening if I did not figure out a solution very, very quickly. The issue that I was running into is, as a new teacher transferring from state to state, your insurance does not transfer automatically. Being a new teacher and not having what they consider as quote unquote tenure here in Central Virginia, which is where you have job security, you can't get laid off, different things of that nature. I had to wait 30 days until open enrollment. Those of you all that do have assumptions and do know a little knowledge about opiates, it was going to be physically, mentally impossible for me to wait 30 days on either one of those, whether it be physical or mental. It just was not going to happen because I was probably going to end up, one, killing myself, or two, killing myself because it was either going to be a physical issue that I would never be prepared for and never be able to deal with, or I would mentally break down. It's crazy because just like I reminisce on a lot of things in life, still to this day, just like clockwork, I'll never forget being that grown man and listening to a 16-year-old little boy who was in the drum line that I instructed at the local high school talk about this substance that we all know, that we all fight against every single day, that we all try to bring awareness to every single day, that we all try to get these enablers to stop giving money to contribute to every single day. This kid talked about this drug like it was the best thing in the world. I did not think that it was possible for any drug or substance to be better than what my Oxycontin was already producing. That's like telling a man that, oh, well, We got Viagra, but they got Cialis over here, and Cialis is 10 times better than Viagra. You should try it. Same deal with women. You know, it's like telling a woman, well, I guarantee you, if you take this shot, you're not going to get pregnant for 10 years. But if you use this condom and it's an unbreakable condom, you don't have to worry about getting a shot and you still won't get pregnant for. You're going to use the hell out of that condom because you know it's unbreakable and you still don't got to get the shot. You can be like, holy shit. You feel what I'm saying? So I thought that it was so amazing. What went through my head, what went through my mind, the dark cloud that loomed over top of me as an individual, as a lost soul, as a person that was in a predicament, as a person that had a dilemma, as a person that was starting to shake, as a person that was starting to get nervous because I know I only had 3 pills left. As a person that knows that I'm not going to make it 30 days on 3 pills. I did the responsible thing. I waited until after class let out. But I definitely pulled that kid to the side as any real individual would do, especially an individual that there's no shame in anything that I've ever done in my life. I would never take it back because I feel like, once again, it was something that chose me. If now that I look at it, if I wasn't chosen, then I wouldn't be there to hear that conversation at that particular time. I wouldn't have been educated the way that I was by who I was to persuade me to even try it and then realize that I can get so much of this and I don't, you know what I mean? And that was back when heroin, aka dope, was actually what it was supposed to be. So let's go back to what everybody would say right here at this point in time. Pause. So we've talked about opiates, we talked about Oxycontin. Now you know what my DOCs are. Another definition for you getting into. I'm actually going to give you 2 definitions. Getting into my DOCs further, as I stated in the beginning, there's a trail. It originated from opiate. It graduated to heroin. Heroin, the standard definition, is an opiate drug made from the derivative of morphine, a natural substance taken from the seed pod of the various opium poppy plants grown in Southeast and Southwest Asia, Mexico, and Colombia. Understand that heroin can be either white, a tannish color, a brownish color, and or in rare cases, a very sticky tar-like substance that is the color of what they call Spanish negro or black, and it's very sticky. And they refer to it as black tar. That is the official term for it. Moving forward, the official term and standard definition of the next graduate from heroin is fentanyl. Fentanyl is a powerful synthetic opiate that is very, very similar to morphine, but it's actually and factually 100 times more potent than morphine, as where it's only 50 times more potent than the natural derivative of what raw heroin actually is. A lot of people think that fentanyl is way more potent than heroin. In all actuality, it's only half the amount of power of heroin as it is to the 100 times amount of power or the double amount of power it is as of morphine. So, in all actuality, if you look at the facts, fentanyl is just pretty much a double dose of raw, uncut heroin. That's what it is. When you take 50 here and you take 50 there and you put the molecules together, it adds up to being a double dose of what we consider as fentanyl. It's supposed to be a quote unquote fatal dose, but some people with the high tolerance, a person that's been taken for a very, very long time, a person that's plateaued several times, have to had increased their amounts, they would be able to take that comfortably. But there's also a lot of people that try to overdo it, trying to be those cool people, trying to be those fit in peoples, trying to be the peoples that uh, feel like they got it. And that's where the issues come in. Continuing with the fentanyl, this is a prescription drug that's also made just like heroin. It's also used illegally just like heroin. The difference is fentanyl is more like morphine. The effects of it is more like morphine. Morphine is the equivalent of what the active class or the standard class of opium is, and or aka oxycontin or oxycodone. They typically give fentanyl in liquid form to individuals that have and or come out of recovery from major surgeries. That's typically when you see it given and or how it's administered, and it's legally given then. So with the transition from the 3 pills that I had going to heroin, let's talk about that. The very, 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 very first time that I purchased, I didn't purchase a 1 bag or 2 bags. I was a person that took 120 pills in a 28-day span on the regular. I did what I thought was conservative, but also still enough to get by. At the time in Central Virginia, we had these things called bundles. Bundles came in little slices. Slices are like individual bags or little Ziploc bags. You get a certain amount in each bag. Like I said, it was good quality over quantity then. Um, but yeah, so in each bundle at the time, you would get 20 bags. So I know that if I bought 2 bundles, I would have 40 bags. I know that I could do one in the morning, ideally, one at night, ideally, and the goal was to try to make it through the day with just those. Kid you not. The very, very first experience. Note, those of you guys that do not know, I was never a injector. Never an injector. I've never been a um, intravenous user. I know a lot about it because my significant other was only an intravenous user until she met me. Um, Once we met when we were actually in treatment, that's when, like I said, in order for her to deal with me, that was the ultimatum that was given to her. She decided that the relationship and or our path in life was worth the um, commitment and or worth the sacrifice. So that's something that she gave up. And in turn, that's how we've still been together um, since we first met. And once again, that's something else that we'll talk about in a later volume. But just giving you guys that. So I've seen the best of both worlds, but as far as the professionalism and as far as the actual experience for me personally, without having to make her get on here and give her DOC story, I was always, when I say we, I mean I was always a through the nose snort and or sniff individual. So back to the very first bag. It's just like doing anything for the very, very, very first time. What'd you do when you got on your bike and you rode your bike and you got it for the very first time? You were so amazed. What'd you do when you beat that video game that you have been trying to beat for a year almost? You was gun ho, super crazy, turned up and lit about it. I kid you not. Doing that one bag, it may have been a 2 scoop bag, maybe. Doing that one bag, y'all. When I say from the time that it literally went through my system, you could feel it going all the way through your passage. The feeling is totally something that you have never in your life ever felt before. I mean, it's indescribable. It makes you warm. It makes you feel tingly. It makes you feel all cozy and nice and lovable and wanted. It's it was at the time truly amazing. Even now talking about it, it still makes you go, wow. I was really, really, really in love with this product. First bag did it. And I really feel like once I got home from that particular school day, I got what I needed to get. I sat down, got everything situated, got everything set up for the next day, this, and the third. We were going into the weekend, so I know that I had, my Saturdays and Sundays off other than working at the barbershop, which was my secondary job at the time, um, before I became a full-time, like, When I tell you that first bag that was done, like you just, at the time, I was standing. When I got high, I was standing. When I came down and I woke back up, I was still standing in the same spot, leaned over, bent at the waist, arms swinging, still standing, perfectly straight. It was totally amazing. And that brings me to my very, very, very next point. How it makes you feel. Because boy, oh boy. All right, y'all. The effects of heroin and or fentanyl. And this is the part where I decided to do, not only because my DOCs are a three-part, but there's so much similarities and there's very few differences, but the differences are kind of major. But there's so many similarities in it, and hopefully you guys are learning the differences with me on the stream. That's why I'm taking this slow. That's why I'm taking my time. I want to make sure I get through them the right way. I don't want you guys to have any questions. If you do, by any chance, have any questions, please feel free to write them down in the comment box. But I do want to make sure that I touch on everything and I'm very, very clear. Because typically in other chats, you don't get the opportunity to fully hear the definition or fully hear what this does or what that does or what the effects are. So that's why I'm here bringing it to you guys. The effects of heroin and fentanyl. We're going to start with short term. Immediately, you're going to feel exactly what I was talking about. That rush of euphoria. You're also going to feel dry mouth or what they call cotton mouth. You're also going to feel flushing of your skin. You're also going to feel like your arms and your legs are like cinder blocks. You can barely move, which is probably why I was stuck in that same position that I was when I actually sniffed and snorted that very, very first bag for the very first time. Now, what I will say is, I've never had this issue from getting high. This very next issue that I'm about to state, I've never had the issue from getting high, but I do know individuals that state on several occasions if they have very, very, very good product, they do get nauseated as well as they do vomit or they do get that feeling like they have to throw up. It's very, very easy to combat against. You can always have peppermint um, somewhere near you or something that'll keep your sinuses and pores open around your nasal passage. Gold, you never want to be clogged up, especially if you're going to be a uh, nasal person like I was. So, yeah, but that's that. You're gonna, some people feel the nausea or the vomiting. I never did, but I know individuals that have. What I did have an issue with was the very, very, very much so extreme and irritation of the skin. When I say you will scratch and 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 scratch, you will feel like you are scratching your skin on fire. Like you can literally create sparks all over. That's just how the product does. That makes you feel good. It's crazy. You also get what everybody knows and which has become the go-to move, which has become the go-to telltale sign to tell if a person is super high or not, which is what everybody makes an assumption on. They feel like they got it down packed. They feel like they know the signs. They feel like if you're doing this, it's no questions asked. You are definitely tore all the way up. It may not be the case, but what I will say is nodding out is the state of going back and forth between being conscious, semi-conscious, and or possibly unconscious. Nodding out is a very, 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 very big telltale sign of whether or not you are too high for your own means, for which you can tolerate. That is a very, very good judge on whether you've had too much or not. Scientifically, it states on three of the major sites an individual that nods out, there's an 82% chance more likely that they are going to doze out. If they doze out, there is a 91% chance that they're going to overdose. So, examples that we see on a daily basis when we see Maddie, we don't really see Gerald in the nodding out phase. When we see Maddie out every day, eyes rolling in the back of her head, yes, guys, that means that she is on the verge of being unconscious. Yes, guys, that means that she is on the verge. She's riding the borderline. She's playing with death. She's sitting right there in the doorway because nodding out is the gateway from going from being conscious to being semi-conscious to being unconscious. Those are the three steps. That's exactly how they go. There's no in betweens. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If you see her eyes going in the back of her head, she needs to be addressed. If you see her nodding, you can't make that up. You can't make any excuses for it. Oh, I wasn't nodding. Yes, you was, boo. Oh, I'm just tired. There's a difference between being tired and being alert and being high and being semi-conscious or unconscious. Understand that, y'all. Please understand that. There's a completely different, there's a whole different genetic difference in makeup and definitions and terms for that. When you see eyes rolling, that's an unconscious characteristic. And Maddie is famous for the eye roll. I've seen it pointed out several times on several great channels that I will talk about at the very, very end of this cutting up segment. Long term effects. Insomnia, not being able to sleep. I deal with that on a daily basis. Talk to the doctor. Ain't nothing you can really do about it. You can get pills, you can get vitamins, you can get melatonin. At the end of the day, when you've been on a drug for as long as I have, and or an individual like me, and or a person that's using at the present moment, that's something that you're gonna deal with. Insomnia is something that you're gonna deal with. Get used to it. That's the price you have to pay. Now, this is one of these things that I feel like isn't my place to really address. It's my missus' place to address. But this happens very, very often. And I will say it took her a very long, this is all I'll say, because I'll allow her to do her story at a later date. It took her a very long time and a lot of work and a lot of fluids and a lot of electrolytes to build her veins back semi healthy to where they have inflated to visible standards again. But one thing that you do have issues with when you are a injector is collapsed veins. And that's something that she dealt with terribly. You also have damaged tissue, especially if you're snorting and or sniffing. It gets so bad that you lose all the cartilage in the middle part of your nose to where you can stick a Q-tip there and you can probably go all the way from one side to the other side. I've seen people and or heard of people that have literally bent the Q-tip and they've stuck it in one side and pulled it out of the other side because there's no cartilage in between because they've blown it all out, loosened it up just from the breakdown of the drug and or the cutting agents that are in there, fentanyl being a lot more synthetically powerful, which means that the molecular structures are a lot more um, stronger and they're a lot more potent and they break down the internal enamel that's inside of your nose. So all of the cartilage and different stuff that you have in your nose cavity or in your nasal cavity, yes, that all can get broken down over time. It's just like using powdered cocaine. That's another issue. It's just like using crystal meth. That's another one. Any of those type of drugs that have the major cutting agents and or those potent chemicals that come with them, those are going to be drugs that are going to break down your whole entire nasal passage. Another thing that you're going to deal with is infection of the lining of your valves as well as your heart. The valves that go to your heart, they're going to be infected. They're going to be broken down. You're going to have a lot of bacteria. You're going to have a lot of tar, just like almost kind of like smoking cigarettes, the way tar builds up. Well, the chemicals from the drugs, they get attached. They start breaking down the lining that's inside of your body. Another major one, now this you see in very, very, very particular cutting agents a lot, as well as you see it in individuals that miss veins all the time. But this is also a very popular one. If you're in the if you're in the process of being dosed and you're trying your hardest to get it in a vein, can't focus, you can't concentrate, you can't be still because you're shaking, your stomach's hurt, you're growling, you got cramps, you got loose stools, you got different things of that nature. You're not always going to hit that vein if you don't have anybody to be able to shoot you up to where you can focus on trying to sit still for those 5 seconds to get it inside of your vein immediately, stop your withdrawals. You're going to miss sometimes. And when you miss, they create these things called abscess. They are horrible. They get infected. They look ugly. They produce white fluid, yellow fluid, green fluid, black fluid, blood fluid, the nasty stuff. It's basic bacteria built up from the drug. Since you didn't hit the vein, they got caught inside of the muscle and or the tissue and or the cells that are floating around inside of your skin instead of your vein, and it just builds up until it pops and or until you release the pressure. Also, people that do dope, aka heroin, aka fentanyl, something that I've noticed, and I had this a lot before I got back together, was when you first start doing the drug, your your sex levels go through the roof. They're amazing. But as you start doing more and more and more, and as your body starts getting more dependent and dependent and dependent, your arousal levels go down. So your cravings for the drugs go up and your arousal levels go down. That's for men, and for females, it works the same exact way. In addition to having the hormone issues as a female, you also get very, 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 very irregular periods, and or you may get very little and minimal spotting for a really long time, and then you may get horrible blood flow that looks like a murder scene, and you never know what's gonna happen when. So the irregular menstrual cycle is what it's called. That's also a long-term effect of heroin and fentanyl use. Okay, so we've talked about the DOC, we've talked about heroin, we've talked about fentanyl, we've talked about how you use. We have talked about the effects, long term and short term. Guys, we are almost done with the DOC. So, before we get up out of here, my last subject that I'm going to discuss before I get to my conclusion is going to be the cutting agents and then how you go through withdrawals and what you do to get off. Cutting agents are very, very common. They're very, very minimal nowadays, more so than any other time previously. You got people cutting with just about anything that you can find anywhere that looks the part, smells the part, and or the consistency and feels the part. Why? You're trying to get that extra dollar. You're trying to get that extra sale. You're trying to get that extra value. You're trying to get that extra penny. I have no clue what happened to quality over quantity. Even though I'm not actively using, I would still love to see that come back just for the health and the dangerousness that you see that's out here. But the current cutting agents that you see on a regular basis out here are trink is number one, flour is number two, sugar is number three, starch is number four, powdered milk is number five, kratom is number six, and believe it or not, they're actually cutting fentanyl and or heroin now with the actual official oxycodone pills or oxycontin pills, whichever you can get a hold of, whether it be the hydrocodone, whether it be the oxycodone, whether it be Lortabs, quote unquote, and or Percocets, they are cutting the powdered product with these actual opiates, these medical pills, just trying to get you that much more hooked onto a product. So therefore you have to continue to come back. Because now you're doing two products. You're doing the opiate as well as you're either doing the heroin or you're doing the fentanyl and or you may be doing all three at the same time. Those are the major and the common cutting agents that we have out here today. Um, Later in life, as well as a little bit down the road, I'll also be doing a few slides that come with the Cutting Up with QdAbArBeR segments, and I'll also make sure to put in a slide to show you what the actual cutting agents look like, so therefore you guys will be hip to the street. You'll know what is actually looking like. You guys will know what some of the bags look like. You guys will know what a lot of the products look like. You'll know what is cut, when it's cut, how it's cut, where it's cut, and what part of the city, state, and or um, country it came from. That's my end goal. I want you guys to be just as aware as myself. Because if we're aware, then we can make the next person aware. And if we make the next person aware, then they can make the next person aware. And then that's one less person we got to worry about losing to the streets, and one more person that we gain to join the team to save people out of the streets. You feel me? Withdrawals. Very, very, very quickly, guys. Me, boom. It was an instant, automatic. First bag of dope, I was hooked. First perk, first oxy, I was hooked. First bag of fentanyl, I was hooked. Factually, right here on my piece of paper that's in front of me, they say it actually takes 3 days to become dependent on fentanyl, 7 days to become dependent on heroin that is completely raw and uncut, and 11 days to become dependent on opiates. But what is very, very, very interesting, withdrawal symptoms are immediate. There's no days. There's no day process like you had when you got hooked. So you took the days, whether it be 3, 7, or 11, to get hooked onto the drug. But now listen to this. Like I said, it takes 3 days to get hooked to fentanyl. But at maximum, you're gonna feel withdrawals. At the maximum amount, it's gonna take a maximum of 6 hours to feel those withdrawals. Dope or heroin, uncut heroin. 7 days to get hooked. 12.5 hours at maximum to feel withdrawal symptoms. Opiates, actual pain medication prescribed by the doctor. 11 days to get physically dependent on an everyday basis. This was amazing. This was the longest one it took. But you don't see withdrawals from pills. A lot of people say that they see withdrawals immediately, but the maximum amount for withdrawals on pills is actually 46 hours. So that's damn near close to 2 days on the dot. It's 2 hours shy of 2 days. So you may as well say you can go 2 days without your last pill at maximum without going into full-blown withdrawals. And your full-blown withdrawals from any of those products are all the same. And they sound like this. Restlessness, whether they be your whole body, whether that be your leg, whether that be your eyes, and or your hands or arms. Severe, and I mean severe, muscle and bone and joint issues and pains. You feel fragile as hell. That's the best way I can describe it. Sleep problems, as I just stated with the restlessness. You think it was bad with insomnia? If you're going through withdrawals, you're going to be sitting there with your eyes wide open, and you're going to want them to be wide shut. But you ain't going to be able to close them because it's going to be so bad. Diarrhea. I'll save that for another time, but I got a super duper 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 crazy and funny story to tell y'all about an incident that I had with the diarrhea situation. But yes, I will just say this. The diarrhea gets very, very real at times. Vomiting, that also gets real. And it's really bad when you get the double dose and you get the vomiting from one end and you get the diarrhea from the other end. And that's all I'm going to say. But they're both horrible. Just know that. Cold flashes, and they also come with goosebumps. The chills, it could be like 80 degrees outside in the middle of the summer. And you're going to want to go outside to try to catch a breeze, but you're also going to be wrapped up in two comforters and or quilts because you're going to be freezing. It's horrible. This is the one that got me the most, and it took me a really, really, really long time to normalize, to be honest. I thought I had a problem for the longest time, but I found out it was normal and it made me feel a little bit better. But I really thought I had an issue. Sorry, y'all. That's my live alarm letting me know that it's time to wrap up. That is my live alarm letting me know that it's time to wrap up. So, like I said, I'm going to finish up really quick. But yes, as far as the uncontrollable movements and twitching, you're going to find yourself making movements that you didn't even mean to make. or you're going to find yourself twitching, your leg's going to kick by itself, something that you can't control. It really freaked the hell out of me. I'm not going to lie. And my body did it more than less. I was really, really scaring the shit out of myself. And yeah, I found out it was normal and it made me feel a little bit better, but it was really bad. Like your body moves in your sleep, you sweat, like sweat, like sweat. It's really bad. And you twitch and you'll just be sitting there and your leg will start shaking on its own. It's really bad. Um, of course, you're going to have the severe cravings. And lastly, you're going to have the horrible depressions. Understanding that once you hit rock bottom, guys, you get these DOCs. Once you hit rock bottom, your only way that you can go from the very, very, very bottom of your life, the lowest of the low, is up. Once you decide that you want to go up, they have programs where you can go into detox. Detox are 3-day programs. You have to rid all of the drugs out of your systems before they can help you get better. Once you decide to get better, you have options. You can take methadone, you can take Suboxone, you can take Subutex, you can take Vivitrol. You can also go natural and take Kratom. Whatever floats your boat, whatever works for you. They have shots, they have wafers, they have liquids, they have dissolvable strips, they have powders and teas and mixes with the kratom and the powder and pills, and they have a bunch of different things that you can normalize your life with. Currently, I'm in MAT program, which is a medication assistant treatment program, and that's going to be volume 3. So you'll have to stick around and you'll have to come back for the next volume to hear about my MAT, what MAT I chose, how the program goes, what the routine is, what days I go on, and all of those types of things. Once again, I want to say thank y'all very, very, very much for joining me tonight here, Cutting Up with QdAbArBeR, Volume 2. Today's topic was, what is my DOC? Hopefully now you guys know my DOC was opiates in general, which graduated to heroin, which then in turn graduated to fentanyl, hit rock bottom, and you have to stick around to see where my MAT is currently. I'm QdAbArBeR. Before I get up out of here, I want to give my special shout outs today. Number one, Miss Belinda. If y'all have not checked her out yet, please go check her out. The best makeup artist I know. Number two, we got Pink Moji in the house. Yo, she's been holding me down. I really, really, really appreciate the love, the emails, the ideas, the inspiration, everything that I can think of as far as um, innovation is over on Pink Moji's channel. When I say that Pink Moji came with a completely different view, a completely different style, that was something that I never thought that I would ever see. And she did it through a freaking emoji. Go show love. I watched somebody else try to take the credit, for Pink Moji's channel the other day, and it kind of bothered me when they reacted to it. But yeah, I'm not even going to do that. Not at all. I'm just going to tell you to go show the love because they came up with the idea on their own, and Pink Moji held it down and did their thing. That's been me since day one. I'm not hopping on the bandwagon. I've been there. So yeah, shout outs to Pink Moji. And of course, like I said, shout outs to my homegirl Belinda. She's been holding me down. Shout outs to Sharon V. Look, my sis, y'all, she got hurt. Please, y'all, keep Sharon V in y'all's prayers. Please. Sharon had her shoulder get popped out of place when she was trying to move her bag from one location in the rehab facility to her new room in the rehab facility. Her shoulder popped out of place. She had to get emergency rush to the hospital. They got an MRI done and everything. So please, y'all, please pray. All the prayer warriors that are out there that watch this video, I don't care whether it's 20 of y'all, 200 of y'all, 200. I mean, excuse me, whether it's 20 of y'all, 200 of y'all, two of y'all, 2,000 of y'all, it don't matter. Prayer warriors, pray, please. Keep Sharon V in your prayer. We are going to make sure that Sharon gets back into rehab, gets back on track because she's not going to go backwards. That is a minor setback for a major comeback. Sharon, you got this, girl. I'm not giving up on you. I'm not going to stop holding you down. I'm not going to stop supporting you. Ain't nobody else over here going to stop supporting you. We don't give a beep what anybody has to say on any other channels, whether it's negative or not. If they ain't got nothing positive to say and swinging it your way, then we don't want to hear that. Point blank, period. Next shout out is to my boy Kwame Calico Beats. If y'all listen to the intro and or the last video that I dropped on my haircut collection, that is my boy Kwame Calico Beats. He's from Detroit, Michigan, on the south side. He sent me the beat and he was like, bro, yo, this is free of charge. It was on the last video that I just dropped, which was my haircut collection part 6. um, he also sent me he sent me a total of 11 beats, but that was the first one that I used. So y'all, please, please, please go support him. It's called Calico Beats. That's the YouTube channel, Calico Beats. It's spelled the way that I spelled it on the little banner thingy with the exclamation mark and the 3 and the 5. Yeah, so like I said, please support him. He's really, really dope. I've known him. He used to live in Central Virginia. He graduated from Liberty University here as a musical engineer and graphic design artist, and then he moved back home, which was in Southwest Detroit. And like I said, I got connections everywhere. That's how I've been finding out a lot of the mighty stuff and all of that type of stuff that I do know because I got people that's right up there and everybody don't know. You know what I'm saying? But shout outs to my boy Kwame Calico Beats. And shout outs to my homie, my forever, my road dog, T from the D. Of course, shout out to him. He said he's getting ready to go to rehab. Shout outs to him. Of course, I haven't seen him in a while, but big shout outs to him. My 6 and my 7, Nature and Miss Connie M. Both of y'all still doing y'all's thing. Both of y'all still holding it down. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everything that y'all got going on y'all's channels as far as the stop the enabling. Y'all, it's working. Maddie is running out of excuses. She's running out of ideas. She's getting nervous. She's getting frustrated. It's working. Please don't give up. Nature, put it in overdrive. Connie, put it in overdrive. I know y'all got it. Please hold it down. Keep on pushing. Keep on pushing. Y'all got my support. I appreciate everything that y'all do over there on them channels. Keep, 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 keep going. We got to. And last but not least, y'all, I want to show love, and pardon my language when I say this, but Instead of being frustrated, because I was really hot about this, and it happened earlier today. I was really, really hot about this. Now, I really was going to be mad. I was really going to cuss him out because I got cameras. So I got two cameras that's pointed in the barber suite that I work in. Like I said, I work out of my house. You know what I'm saying? So I have two cameras in my one room that's my barber suite. I've transformed the whole area. It's a lot of work that I've put in here. This dickhead steals my brand new clippers, slides them in his backpack, and thought that I won't go find out. That's how it works. So instead of cussing him out, I'm just going to say shout outs to the little young buck, the wise guy that stole my brand new FX trimmers. It's $299.97. If you want to buy me a new pair, that's great. Send them to me and I'll get off your back about it. Or you can just return my old pair and I'll pretend like you did it on accident and I won't put you out there and I won't put your name out there. But if I have to go get the video and I have to expose you like I've been exposing a whole lot of other people here lately, it's not gonna look good for you, bro, because you're young. Two, you don't want to catch a charge this early in the game. Three, that's not me. I don't like confrontation, and I'm trying to do good things. I'm trying to do positive things. I'm not trying to go backwards and or fall back into that blackout or that see red special. So yeah, please do the right thing. Please return my clippers, wise guy. That's not cool. It's not the fact that I have eight other pair. It's not the fact that I got sponsorship by a major barber company. It's not the fact that I'm sponsored by a major cake company. It's not the fact that I got famous people that I cut. It's not the fact that I'm okay and I'm pretty decent at what I do as far as a career and a talent. Those are not the points. It's the simple principle of the fact of if you needed it that bad, I really don't have it extra, but I could have gotten you or given you a pair of older clippers or something. Like, you don't have to take from me. If you need it or you want it, say so, and I'll see what I can do to try to help you. You don't have to steal. You get what I'm saying? So that's crazy. That's crazy. A little young buck. He's like 17. That's crazy. So, like I said, pray for him, y'all. Pray for everybody else. Keep everybody in y'all's prayers. Thank y'all so much for rocking out with me for this hour and 38 minutes that y'all did today. The playback's gonna be real. The playback's gonna be legit. We gonna keep on going. The next volume will be out on Sunday. Like I said, we'll be rocking with the MAT for the next topic, and I look forward to seeing y'all on Sunday. And I'm gonna keep on putting out my videos and in between, and y'all know how I do, like I do every single day. I do what I do through talents and testimony. I strive to change lives one haircut at a time. QdAbArBeR. That's what I do. I love y'all very much. Thank y'all very much. Keep on doing what y'all do. Like, comment, subscribe. The official QdAbArBeR channel. A barber with a testimony and a talent. Check me out. Love y'all. Thank y'all. God bless.